All right, welcome back, and thank you for joining us here at the Yes to Your podcast. As always, thank you for tuning in. If this is your first time with us, welcome, and thanks for giving us a shot. For those of you that are returning, thank you for coming back. My name is James, and I am joined by my spooky co-host, Beth. How are you tonight, Beth?
Why am I spooky?
Because you're spooky. It's spooky time.
You're spooky, jerk.
Oh. Well, that's unfortunate.
Spooky.
Have you done anything recently, like watched Fright Night again?
Cried.
Just cried? Oh, that's sad. Because you're spooky?
No, because I'm stressed.
Oh, man.
Are you spooky?
I am now.
I'm spooky
I
stressed.
wasn't until just now.
Yeah, I'm sorry. No, I'm just vibing.
Yeah?
Feeling okay today. Had a long day. I think it kind of went back fast, actually.
Did it?
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Had another, 7-hour shift.
Oof.
You know what's really weird to me? I keep having extra hours. And I don't know where they're coming from. Because, I go home early sometimes. And I'm like, oh, there's an hour lost or 30 minutes. And, I still end up where I'm supposed to be at, early, hour-wise, or more so. I don't know how that happens.
Maybe you get there early and
no, but I don't.
15 minutes
we
early.
were late. I was late one day.
Huh. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's the hour gods. They love you.
I guess so. Good thing, too. I'm broke. We get paid tomorrow. I'm so excited.
Woo!
I said, I don't even care. I was such in a bad mood earlier coming off the work. I was like, I don't even care how much money I have in my bank account. I'm getting me some McDonald's.
Yeah?
We got no food in the house. I did.
Did you get the spooky meal?
And I ate it up. I was like, and I almost hit the little yellow pole, the one that you have to turn into.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what? The car, I was up on the hill going into the driveway. I was on the hill and there was a car in front of me, so I couldn't pull up to pay for it.
Yeah.
And the car started going backwards.
Yeah, it'll do
and
that.
I was like, slam on the gas.
Yeah, that's what you do. Just slam on. Sorry, I went to the wall. Yeah.
I was nervous. And then I accidentally turned my music up. I was trying to turn it down, but my hand slipped, so it turned really high up really fast. I pumped up kids.
$14.95.
Pumped up kids were playing. It was all do, and then just
intense.
And I go up to the thing and they're like, you gonna shoot us? Give me the Travie Patty.
What?
Have you not seen that? The Travis Scott Patty?
Oh no, I only know Krabby Patty. I'm sorry.
It's been a meme.
Oh well.
And I guess you're just out of it. Old.
I'm out of it.
It's
no.
Fine.
Well, that's cool. Though.
Everyone else who knows what I'm talking about will laugh. They go, ha ha ha.
Krabby Patty.
Spooky. I can't wait for McDonald's to come out with the kids meal where they put the buckets. The bucket ones.
Yeah,
I'm
when
gonna
they
buy
have the
so many kids
pumpkin
meals.
and they have the
pumpkin and the ghost and the witch
and
zombies,
Frankenstein and the mummy sometimes.
Yep,
I think
the mummy.
Huh. You gonna get them all?
No, I probably won't get any of them. What am I gonna do with that?
I don't know. What are you gonna do with those?
Maybe I'll get some. Maybe I'll get one.
You get them, we can decorate. We'll hang them from the ceiling and put little candles in them.
I really want to put a painting here.
I'll drill holes in the ceiling.
Yeah, this area of space over here. I think it'd be nice.
All right, well that's cool. That's cool.
How was your week?
My week was pretty good. I had successful little checkups that I had to go do and stuff like that.
Right,
Everything
right.
was good news and yeah, good times. Good. It was a fast week. It felt fast.
It really was, yeah.
So October's coming up, so we're spooky.
Spooky. Excited.
All right. So as we said, we're kicking off the spooky season with a classic. Today we're going to be reviewing The Thing, and I got to tell you, rewatching this again was a treat. I really enjoyed the movie and feel like I catch something new every time I watch it. I think this is the first and only time you probably ever watched this movie.
Yes, I've never heard about this movie before. Never watched it.
Yeah,
anything like that.
Oh, I have watched it a lot, and it's just something that after you know like the ending and you listen more and you listen to the dialogue and you kind of see what's going on, you start to see a whole bunch more.
I'm really excited to talk about this one, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
What I remember most about this movie from my childhood was not really understanding it or being able to grasp exactly what was going on.
That's fair. I can see how this would be a better movie for older people.
Yeah. It's not that it's necessarily hard to follow in, as being a bad movie.
No, I would say there would be a lot that you miss.
Yeah.
As a 5-year-old, 6-year-old.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's. I think it's just the intent of the movie to keep you guessing and off your feet. And for a little kid, that was a tough concept for me to grasp. Or at least it was for me. I don't know. Other people would be like, I was 8 years old and I got this just fine. So you're dumb. So
E
that's fine.
equals
That's
MC
fair.
square.
Right. Finger to mouth.
Oh shoot!
So,
No, I hate that stupid meme.
Okay, so no
Don't
finger
use
to
that.
mouth.
No fingers to the mouth. I can't believe you just said no.
I didn't say
You just
pinky.
ruined my
I
whole
said
mouth.
finger.
Yeah, but you did the little motion, which he does.
I
in the-
did.
which
I
he
did.
does.
I'm
I know what you're talking.
sorry.
I hate seeing that. I've actually been off of Facebook because of that. Because that's all you and what's his name post. I only ever seen that stupid meme, and it's my whole timeline's that.
Oh, you're talking about.
I almost want to block
You're
him.
talking about the guy from Titanic.
Yes.
That one. That wasn't even the one that I was doing. I was actually doing from
Oh,
somewhere
I don't
else.
even
but
care.
It doesn't. But that's what came to your
I
head, huh?
hate that. I hate that stupid picture.
All right. Well, last week we had a contest in regards to which movie was better between Big Trouble in Little
Oh,
China
yeah.
and The Golden Child. I thank you for all those who emailed in, but we could only have one winner.
Oh, did we get a lot of?
Oh
those?
yeah, we did.
Oh, really?
yeah. Yep. And so the winner is Dondi Stamp. That's the one that had the best. So
Oh, I was completely thinking about something else.
congratulations to Dondi. You're going to be getting your sweet movie prize out to you this week.
What did she say was better? Which movie?
She said that The Golden Child. She said just the way that with the way that it's quoted and just her family and just everything like that, that it just really brings it. She has fond memories. So it's more about less about which movie is better per se and which movie actually means more to her. And it was that movie.
Well, that wasn't the question, so psych, you don't win.
It's like you don't win. Oh, I'm sorry. So we're not sending you a prize, but you get a consolation of us saying good job.
Yeah,
good job.
Good
Thank
job.
you.
Pat on the back.
Nah. But yeah, we'll be getting that out to you. Your sweet movie prize.
It's a really cool
pack.
thing. Something
It
really
is. Make sure you keep an ear out in the future, everybody else, for contests that we'll be having. We always have some goodies to give away. And
I don't know where we get the money from. I'm eating scraps over here.
That's how we have money, because you eat scraps. If you ate well, we would have no money. Yeah. All right. So, your initial impressions of the movie. What was it going to be like? Preview, artwork, all that jazz.
So my first impression was pretty good. This got an 85 on the Rotten Tomatoes and 8.1 on the IMDb. Though again, we don't really follow those.
Right.
Watching the trailer. Did you watch the trailer?
No.
Oh, you did last week. I was actually kind of.
I know. I'm
so
sorry.
the very start of the trailer reminded me to the start of No Mercy map on Left 4 Dead, because it was it was like radio and it was all like, we gotta.
Yeah, for sure.
And it was very cool. So I was really hyped about that. And then they have a quote where they say found something. So I was like, oh, it's probably gonna be like, you know how it is.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, okay. And then I sat for like 20 minutes trying to think of other words that you can make movies off of, and I could only come up with it and thing.
That.
Oh, right, but it's like.
And there's a movie called They. Yeah. Huh?
Well, but you have like the thing. You just have the that.
The that.
Oh, that sounds
The
pretty.
that.
The that.
It's that.
It's the that.
All right.
Hidden in your closets. It's the that.
The that.
That. Let's make a movie.
Coming from your blouse. The that.
Blouse.
Well, from behind the blouse in the closet.
Oh.
Not like wearing it. That was weird.
That's what I was, yeah. Okay, anyways.
Risky.
It seemed more like the gore equals scary vibe, which it kind of followed with. It seemed more like it was going to be that kind of movie.
Cool.
So I gave it a 3 out of 5 for that.
Okay.
But I would probably watch based on the trailer, like if nothing else was out, because the trailer didn't really capture the movie for me. It was pretty much just like, ooh, here it is. But the DVD art gave me like Among Us vibes, and I've been talking about this a lot. The game, I know you haven't played it,
right?
But it's where you have to play. You're on the spaceship with a bunch of other people, and you have to one of them's an imposter, which is kind of like this movie actually. One of them has like a parasite in them, and so they're evil, and they go around and kill the other people on the ship.
Yeah, that's one that's
and you have to vote them out.
Pink and yellow and green and red and blue and brown. I've seen a lot.
I've been playing a lot of this game. Like I have like 100 hours in this game.
Jeez.
Yeah. We play this like every night. But this is kind of what this movie gave me vibes of. But this, oh my gosh. I looked up the poster art and I even saved it on here so I could show you. Look how sick this is.
Wow.
That looks so good. Like, look up the Thing 1982 movie poster, and the first one with like the red background looks so good. And I don't know if it was just like the artist in me who was like, wow, But I would watch this based on this alone. I'd be like, oh, I have to go see this right now. I'd actually want the poster, you know? I'd put that up in my room.
That's cool.
Yeah, so that's pretty much all I had for that.
That's very cool, man. I love your take on that stuff. It's always interesting to me.
Yeah, I like how you have nothing ever to say because you don't do it.
Oh. Well, that's not my part. That's your part.
Right, but I would like your input, too. How did you feel about the trailer? Oh, wait, you didn't listen to it. Anyways.
Right. So, well, good for me. So, The Thing was released June 25th, 1982. And so I was literally 4 coming up on 5 years old when this came out.
4 months?
No. 4 years.
You didn't give me a unit base, so I didn't know.
I understand that.
4 elements?
4 elements. I was 4 water.
That's so stupid. What's 4 water?
Sorry.
5 fire.
It's a wind, water, heart.
Wind, air.
You don't know? That's Captain Planet. And if you don't know it, that's not my fault. Earth, wind, water.
He says it like that.
Heart.
Wind.
He says wind.
And I would shoot him.
Well, he's got an accent. That's how he says it.
Listen, I'm just saying, if I ruled the world, there'd be a lot of dead people. Because I'd be like, oh, this is how you pronounce things? Pow.
Back on that again. Why are you always murderous? It's in your blood. You can't help it. I know, I get it. It's fair. So this is a horror mystery sci-fi movie, which, yeah, I think that pretty much nails it.
Yeah.
It revolves around the research team in Antarctica that is hunted by a shape-shifting alien that can assume the appearance of its victims. So, it is directed by John Carpenter and is one of his best, if not his best, movie, in my opinion. Now, do you know John Carpenter movies? You want to look them up real fast? So you can at least have a reference?
I will.
Yeah, take a look real fast. Just John Carpenter movies.
John Carpenter.
Yeah. Hurry up. We don't want dead air.
See how I spelled that?
Oh, man, that was not really good.
How do you spell it? I can't.
Carpenter.
I can't spell it. Enter.
Yeah.
There we go.
That'll work. So he's goes to Mars. They live. See, I told you there was a they in there. They live. Halloween.
Big Trouble in Little China. Ugh.
Yeah, Big Trouble in Little China. He's definitely a fan of
The
Kurt
Fog.
Russell. The Fog. The Thing. More Halloweens.
Start something.
He's got a whole bunch of horror movies. The man is a legend. He basically is a legend in the horror genres. He's
he's
created.
A big Kurt Russell guy.
Yeah, he's got him all over the place.
Good for him, I guess.
For Kurt Russell or for John Carpenter?
For Kurt Russell.
Huh. Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Which I meant to ask you, because it seems like every movie we watched so far with Kurt Russell in it, he looks exactly the same. How, where, timeline wise, where did like Trouble China, this movie, and then Overboard?
This one's 82.
Okay.
I want to say, I can't remember what Big Trouble. I think it was 86, and I think Overboard is 88. I want to say.
He just looks the same to me.
He ages very well.
Yeah.
Like if you watch the movie, like I told you, I'm a Kurt Russell fan. Like
now,
Backdraft.
Even now.
And Tombstone. I mean, he kills it.
He's 69.
Wow. But I mean, he was all the way back in Disney movies, like in the 70s, maybe even in the 60s to 70s. You know, Fox and the Hound?
I don't like talking about that movie.
Right. Well, he was one of the voices. Sad. I believe he was Todd.
It just makes me really sad thinking about that movie.
Oh.
Really bumming me out today.
I'm sorry. We need a moment.
I actually, like, every time I see that movie come up, I have to look away.
I understand, man. Look, I used to have it on book with a little tape that sang with it and read through as you read. And
so
yeah, that really depressed me.
It really does. Disney really does it dirty sometimes.
Yeah. Maybe they'll do a live action.
He looks like the guy from Up.
Kind of, I guess.
Old. Oh. That's what I'm thinking of. I was like, where do I know you from? And because he played the space god from...
Oh, yeah, from part 2.
Of
Guardians of the
Galaxy.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, that's why they had him play the alien playing him or looking like him. That was the whole purpose of it. So he's a good guy, man. I like him. I like him as an actor. I think that he does a good job, and I enjoy his movies. So
I like him too.
So The Thing has an all-star ensemble cast with actors such as Kurt Russell, as I said, Wilford Brimley, T.K. Carter, and Keith David, just to name a few. The movie had a budget of $15 million, but it only had a cumulative gross of almost $20 million. So,
that's it?
So not a blockbuster.
Are you? Oh, wow.
It was budgeted to be. Yeah, it did.
Wow.
It did not do well at all. Yeah. It had a wild tagline though. It said "Anytime, anywhere, anyone," which I think is spooky and all that.
Yes. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited to talk about this movie.
So, however, the time of the movie was not received well, and of course, the critics at the time destroyed it. Everything from its plots to its graphics, they destroyed.
The graphic?
I know.
Oh my gosh.
But as always, as we say, we could care less what the critics say.
No, I care less. Extremely.
This movie to me is what I call a thinker. I might be I might be coining that, yeah, but I don't. I think it's already been said.
Don't coin things. Don't coin things.
Okay.
Every time you're like, maybe I'm gonna coin it. It's always been said. It's already been said.
All right, I got you. But it not only messes with you graphically, but it messes with your head.
Yes.
Your mind. You're like,
you got no idea what's going on.
You literally have no way of telling who is who until it usually is too late.
Oh yeah.
And I like that even at the end, you're not sure of who really was who with the remaining characters.
Right.
Because you're like, wait a minute, why is he all of a sudden? It's very. It messes with your mind. The video game that they put out.
They put out a video game?
They did. It's old on the Xbox. It's an old thing. I had it for a long time. I don't know where it went, if we even have it still. But it is along the same line where you have to keep your crew that you're like investigating the scene, and you have to keep your crew not only healthy and alive, but you have to keep their sanity, and you have to keep their trusting. Like if you do too much stuff that seems off the grid and bad and stuff like that, their trust of you starts to go down, and you don't want that. So
that sounds really fun.
It was really fun. It was a really fun game. The music's real spooky, and it's a real spooky setting and everything like that. It was really cool. Really cool. I hate to keep saying spooky. I'm sorry. But yeah, that was that. So you ready to jump into it?
I'm ready to jump into it.
Awesome. In the beginning, we get your basic credits and some ominous music, in my feel. To me, the music really does it in this movie and keeps it good and creepy. Like just that dun dun dun. Like it doesn't try and overplay it. It just really just keeps with it. We see a spaceship out in space that looks to be crashing on a planet that I can only assume is Earth.
Yep.
We find we are in Antarctica during the winter of 1982. We open on a frozen tundra landscape and see a helicopter that looks to be searching for something. A very pretty dog, in my opinion, is running and looks to be running from the helicopter. One of the men in the helicopter takes aim and starts shooting at the dog, but misses. The dog continues to run, and we are introduced to the National Science Institute Station 4 Outpost 31, the location and the crew. We basically see a bunch of men hanging out, playing ping pong, chess on a computer.
That was really funny.
Yeah, the man playing the PC game gets beat and pours his drink into the computer.
Yeah.
He's like, you cheater. So, we then see the dog has reached the same outpost and that the helicopter is circling it. The men come out and see the helicopter as it attempts to blow up the dog with grenades. Which I'm like, man, they really want to kill this dog.
Yeah, I felt kind of bad for the dog. I was like, man, what's going on?
Right? Cute dog? What the heck? The men get out of the helicopter, and one goes to throw a grenade and drops it by mistake, blowing himself and the helicopter up.
Yeah, they were not good aims. Made me think of stormtroopers.
Right. It's like, come on, man, you can't shoot. Now you're dropping grenades. You're digging for it. No, you run. You don't sit there and dig for it.
Yeah, you don't dig for it. What the heck?
The other man yelling in what I can guess is Norwegian. Is Norwegian a language?
I thought it said that they were Swedish.
No, they're from Norway. He keeps saying Swedish, but they're from Norway because that's what it said on the side of the helicopter, Norge. So they're Norwegian. But, yeah.
I thought they were Swedish.
But he begins to shoot at the dog and hits one of the Americans in the leg. I'm like, he has just no cares. Like, he's just shooting, trying to kill this dog. A man who is still inside breaks the window out and shoots him right in the face.
Oh, yeah.
Like, he, like, dead aimed him. Like,
which is pretty much like, okay, this is how it's going, you know?
Right. Oh. The dog they were chasing is all happy to see the Americans. Like, he's like licking them and being all friendly and everything. So a pretty wild beginning.
Yes.
I was like, oh, that we jump right into it. We find that the man that was shot in the face, or I'm sorry, that was shot by the man who was shot in the face is named George.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to give it to this movie. This is like, it was the hardest thing to figure out the names. And to be honest, I don't even know most of their names. Yeah. I remember like maybe 3.
You just know. So, hands down, it was tough.
Yeah, it was really hard.
I had to wait and listen, and because this guy, they call him George, but he's also Bennings.
Yeah.
So you have to.
No, wait.
Yeah, George Bennings is the same guy.
Bennings was the redhead dude.
Bennings was the guy that was kind of bald, that got shot at the beginning.
Oh, okay. See, I thought you meant that the guy who shot the dude was Bennings.
No,
that's not him.
No. Bennings got shot.
Yes, Bennings got
but
shot.
They call him George at this point.
Okay.
They put out the fire of the helicopter, and a man comes out to love on the dog. George gets sewn up, asking why the men were doing that. Another man tried the radio and reports the situation, but without luck. They're just like, nobody's there. So I think we're finding this, things are pretty isolated. So that is what they're kind of, getting at. It's the first week of winter they even bring up, and they're just like, yeah, we're out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
So they're all figuring that they must have gone mad due to cabin fever. Like, that's the only thing that they can figure is why would people even be acting like this soon into the season? Palmer says he will give them a lift, but the guy who looks to be in charge says no thanks. So I'm going to be introducing these names. You just have to. Palmer was the one that kind of looked like a hippie. He had kind of like curly black hair. He was a tall guy. He had like a jean. Yes. Yep. They have McCready or Mac, who is Kurt Russell, and the Doc Copper go in a helicopter to search the site that the helicopter came from. Meanwhile, the dog that was being chased seems to be hanging out looking sinister. I thought the dog was like one of the best actors. The dog was scary,
to be honest. There was one scene where he's coming out from behind a door or something, and all you can see is like his face, and it was spooky. I was like,
but I mean, just like when he's just sitting there and he's looking out the window,
right? And
he's just walking around. He's observing, and he doesn't look at the camera. He doesn't just look like a normal dog. He looks like he's observing.
He looks like
like he's up to something. Yes.
Right, he looks suspicious.
And I thought that was really cool. How do you get a dog to act like that? It was just really cool. And so he walks around the base camp, seemingly checking out the lay of the land.
Yeah.
It does go into someone's room, but we're not sure who. And the fun begins of knowing who is real and who's not.
I want to say that he walked into Gary's room, and that was who was sitting on the bed.
You think?
I want to say that's who it was. Like, he was going in to see, like, hey, bro, you just shot this other dude in the face. I'm going to scope you out. But then Gary wasn't infected.
No. See, I don't think it was Gary.
It might have been...
I think it was him.
Norris?
Yeah, the guy who has the heart attack. I don't want to jump too far ahead.
Yeah.
I think that's who he went into at that point in time's room. Because otherwise, when would Norris have been taken? You see what I'm saying?
True.
I love... That's what I love about this movie, is trying to put the puzzle together of, oh, okay, who's this? What's that? Everything like that. So... Mac and Doc reach the Norwegian campsite, and it looks all burnt up. They call out, but no one answers. The place looks like a war took place, basically.
So, I want to point something out here. There was a door that had an axe in it.
Yep.
And I just want to leave that there. I want to point that out and revisit it.
Okay.
Because something else happens, and I was like, ooh.
Cool. All right. They see a trail of blood and finally a body frozen dead, and it looks to have committed suicide by slicing his wrist.
So cool. The graphics or the special effects, amazing in this movie. For the time, especially, like you could tell that everything, like, obviously it's not green screen, so it's everything that's happened was made.
Yeah,
and it just looks. I mean, it looked so good.
Right,
it looked so good.
And the dude that did it, I don't have it as one of my things, but the dude that did it, he was like 22 years old, and it was his first movie he'd ever done.
It was amazing.
Yeah,
it was amazing.
You see that he just put all of it into it. His all.
It was so good.
They continue to search in documents and portable video. They locate that, but it's all in Norwegian. Mag continues to look in the last few rooms, and they find a giant block of ice that was cut from the earth. It looks to have had something in it that is no longer there.
You know, I wish this part was a little bit better. Like, because I was really confused. Because it was square, and it wasn't like, you know, in Encino Man, where when he melted out, you could still see, like, impressions of where he had been.
Yeah.
It wasn't like that for this.
Right.
It wasn't like the thing was square.
No, but it had come out. It was basically a form inside of it, because as we'll get to, they go and they cut that huge square out of the ice.
But what I'm saying is that there wasn't any kind of, it was empty. Yeah, there was no indentation. And I wish there was just been a little bit more indentation.
Well, it wasn't a human form.
Right.
It was just a...
So that's why I'm saying, if it had been like any kind of like a weird shape, and for you to be like, oh, what the hell is this? He's got to be really weird.
I got what you're saying.
It would have built more onto the suspicion for me. I would have been like, whoa, this has got to look whack.
Nice.
So
Doc and Mac also find burnt up remains that look man-like, he says.
Oh my gosh.
Looks like it might be a man.
So when I first saw this, I thought it was like, I thought they had burnt some of their crewmates together. Like, just threw them in a pile and burnt them. But it was all one thing.
Yeah.
And I was like, what the hell am I looking at here? Yeah. What is what? I thought it was one, like, I thought it was like 6 different people. And it was, oh my gosh. And then they kept zooming in on it to show you more details of what it was.
Yeah.
And it looked crazy, but it was like, oh gosh.
Yep. They return to the base camp, and of course, the dog is watching them. They, for whatever reason, return with the remains that were burnt up.
Yeah,
and
why
now
would you bring that back?
They're all juicy and gross. I mean, it's ew. I would have left that.
Dude, I was so uncomfortable.
I'm like, ew. Yeah, because he's like, get me a shovel. So I'm like, oh, he's gonna bury it.
Yeah, I thought it was gonna be respectful. Like, oh, all these people, let me bury them in.
Yeah.
Which I was kind of like, bro, didn't you just say that you were like short on time? You wanted to leave, whatever. And then they bring it back, bro.
Gross. The captain requests that Blair perform an autopsy right away. And the captain is Gary, but at the point in time, I didn't know. He's the guy in charge.
The white eyebrows.
Yes. The dog sees this and looks not to be pleased.
No.
His face did not look pleased.
So my question was this, because he was under the table.
Yep.
And he did something to one of the guys.
He walks by him. He just startles him because he walks by.
Oh, is that what it is? I thought he bit him.
I thought initially he bit him too, but he didn't.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Because that's what I was like, oh, then that's what it like transferred or something. But
yep.
It did not.
So Gary wakes the man they call Windows and tells him to keep attempting to reach someone via the radio. Blair is performing the autopsy and says that the internal organs all seem to be normal on the twisted body and that they brought back. So, and that was so gross. It was so visceral.
Okay, here's my point.
Yeah.
If you are on this base with 6 other dudes, or however many there are, 7, 8, and you get this thing that comes back and its face, I mean, it looked like 2 faces were molded together. The smile's all gray. It looked like, you know, Spy Kids? You know that one dude?
Yes, it's all twisted and gross.
That's what that's what it looked like to me, and I was like, oh, I mean, horrible. Like, it made me feel, like, scared. But not scared, but, like, just, like... Uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Like, if I worked on that thing, if I was on it, I would be like, I'm not doing this. I'm gonna go lock myself in my room.
Right.
And just not vibe. I was not vibing with any of that. I was like, no. And then the one guy was talking about, like, a Nobel Prize. And yes, I understand if we find something really cool, you're going to want to show it people, but not this. Take some pictures.
Right.
I mean, this is 1980s. You could take a picture and got away with it.
Right.
They don't need solid proof at this point. Oh my gosh. Could you imagine having to work in a department where they're like, special finds or something, whatever it's called, and somebody lays this on your table? I would quit my job.
Yeah.
I'd go home and I would cry.
I'd probably
go insane, actually.
Knowing that it exists.
Yes. Yeah. I would not be able to think of anything else but what that looked like.
And that it's going to get me.
Because you could see the eyeballs, you could see the teeth, like the immense detail. I was just, oh my gosh.
And then human organs inside and everything like that.
And they just kept pulling it out.
Yep.
Oh,
yep.
ew.
Oh, here's the heart and the spleen and the liver.
Gosh. And it was all in one place. Why was that not suspicious?
I don't have a good reason.
I don't have any answers. It was horrible.
I just know that it was all horrible.
And that's a bigger part for me with this movie, is like thinking we live here in the U.S. We're surrounded by people always. But these people are up in Antarctica doing God knows what, digging out ice. And, I mean, that...
Down.
Antarctica's
at the bottom. It doesn't matter.
I really don't care.
Okay.
They're down in Antarctica. Whatever. If you turn us on our side, they're up.
Right. There really is no direction in space.
There's no direction in space.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
If you just keep going up, you're gonna get there eventually.
I
You'll just have to pass some things.
Right.
There's people up here digging in the ice. They could be finding. This could be a legitimate thing that they found, and that thing is just running around killing people, and then freezes again, waiting for somebody else to come find it. I mean, it's a genuine thing that could happen. That's why it's like that's the scary part of this movie.
Is that it's legit? It could. Yes. The yes factor. Yes, I agree with that.
So I mean, with a movie like I said, with like it, I mean. You're not gonna have some clown that comes out every 20 years or whatever, and it's all like, "Ooh, gonna give me some children," and they go out to sleep. People are gonna notice. Okay, somebody's gonna say something eventually. You pull this thing out of the ice, and it wipes out a whole thing of people, and you go in there, and there's no or they blow it all up anyways. So you go in there, there's no proof, and you're just like, "What the hell happened?" Because you gotta think Windows couldn't reach these people,
right?
So they are gonna be like, "Something's wrong."
Right.
We need to send people out to go get them.
Yep.
Here they are, and they're gonna show up and be like, "What in the entire what?"
Yep.
And then that's what the doctor was talking about later on. Is if this thing gets back to society, it's gonna take 27,000 hours. I think is what it said for it to affect everybody.
Yep, I got that written down.
Lord help me,
Yep.
Oh my gosh.
Yep. No, you are spot on with this. That's I love the anxiety and the fear that you're feeling with that because
I was
that
very
is what
anxious.
It would have been nerve-wracking to sit in a theater and watch it for the start in the dark, and you're looking around, and you see other people, and you're like,
"Yes,
I don't trust you.
I don't trust you.
No, you look sketchy.
You're gonna go back in your car, and like your kid's gonna go to the bathroom, and you're gonna be like waiting for them. They're gonna come back. Is that still my kid?
Right?
Are you an imposter? I mean,
I don't know you.
I don't know. I'm just gonna leave. Papa, where are you? I'm home. Don't come back.
I don't know who you are.
I don't know you. Yeah,
that's fair. Oh
gosh.
So the other men are all seem to be hanging out again when the dog steps on George. He yells at the guy named Clark and tells him to put the dog with the others where it belongs.
No, I gotta tell you, I felt bad for my guy Clark.
Yeah,
he really got the short end of the stick this entire movie because he loved these dogs.
And he did. And you know who that is? That's the dad from License to Drive.
Is it really?
Yeah, isn't that cool? That's him.
I didn't put that together.
Oh, yeah. That's him. He's just young.
You know what I'm imagining? I think I said this before, but when I imagine the guy, the dad from License to Drive, I'm imagining, what's his name from Friends that dated Monica, who's really old?
Yeah, it's Tom Selleck.
That's
always,
who
I know, you always
that's
think
always
it's him.
who I think of when I think of like a dad.
But no, that was him. Nope.
I don't know why I do that. Literally, he comes to mind each time. Okay. But yeah, I felt bad for Clark because he genuinely loved these dogs, and he didn't really have much more character than that. But like when it came down to it, like each scene, like later on when it involved like the dogs getting hurt or anything, he was like, no, like running off trying to protect these dogs, and I felt really bad for him. I was genuinely sad for him. So
the dog does go in the cage, but it seems hesitant. The other dogs start to freak out as the dog that came in starts to like split and morph into something else.
Okay, hold on. As Clark, and now this was my downfall with him. The fact that he watched this dog, like he was like basically talking to the dog at this point. He was like, "All right, we'll just go in there." And the dog like looked at him, and looked back at the cage. It was like, "I guess," and then walked in and just laid down.
Weird, laid down,
like.
real.
And then
weird.
later on, they asked him, "Did the dog seem weird to you at all?" And he was like, "Nope."
Yeah.
I'm sorry, this dog you picked up out of the middle of nowhere and it's just for listening to commands? Yeah. And then it starts to split apart. And my problem is, it's hard to be scared when you're disgusted.
Okay. Fear.
And fair. I legitimately, that's my problem with it. It's when you're disgusted, I'm not scared.
Yeah.
That's my only problem.
I don't know, man. When this stuff is going on like that freaks me right out. So the other dogs actually start to try and chew through the cage, and Clark returns and opens the gate, and several of the dogs escape. He does lock it back before it gets out, and with like the weird tentacle things. Mm-hmm. So Mac hears the distressed dogs and sets off the fire alarm. He goes to where Clark is, who says he doesn't know what is in the cage. And Mac tells Bennings to get Childs because he wants the flamethrower. So I'm like, okay, Mac is already just to a point to where he's like, no, we're not playing with whatever this
yeah.
is.
He straight up just like put that on and he's like, yeah.
Yeah. They reach the cage with the now morphed alien dog, and it's taking over the other dogs, and they start to shoot it, and they also shoot the other dogs as well.
Yes,
which
and
was sad. That's when Clark was like, no. But
I mean, what are you gonna do? I mean, it was disgusting.
It had the tentacles all over.
I was so unhappy with this.
Yep. They see it continue to morph into whatever it is, and it continues to grow.
It kept like evolving.
Big.
Yeah. It was like, oh, I just hated it. I hate it. And like the weird little like tentacle things made me think of like there is a type of snail, maybe, or a oh my gosh, I can't think of, but it does that to like smell. It opens like it like shoots out. It's like a worm or something. It shoots out these red tentacles and like drags itself along. It's a clam, maybe. Maybe it's a type of clam. Okay. I don't know. It was horrible though, and that's how that's how it senses things, and that's what made me think of the like little red thing that kept coming out and like feeling against the walls and everything. Oh my gosh, horrible! And it made me think of skinwalkers.
Okay.
You know how they are, where they copycat and then they become that thing. It just made me think of that. Oh no.
The thing does almost get Childs, who is crazy stunned by what he sees, but he torches it just in time. And so now everyone is stunned, and they all have PTSD.
Now, again, this is my second part of this. So the body thing would have been horrible, okay? But if I actively saw this thing in the middle around all these dogs, just murking them out, and then just expanding, retracting, slither, I would have gone and killed myself, I think. I don't think I could have lived in this world anymore had I seen that.
Wow.
I would have gone insane. I would have been like, oh, no. And then it goes like up into the ceiling.
Yeah.
So then my mind would have been like, it's in the ceiling because I thought it was in the ceiling.
I thought it was escaping too.
And I was like, oh, no.
Yeah.
I would have just gone and been like, can I borrow your gun? And then just shot myself.
No, it was like, it was bracing itself. And that's just how it was doing. It was just expanding beyond whatever. It's just horrible.
In movies, they try to make the characters relatable so you relate as the characters to make it more spooky and everything. I mean, in your opinion, because there's mine, how would you have handled this?
Well, I would have definitely had where it got toasted, but I would have been like, I don't care if we can reach anybody else. There's got to be a close outpost somewhere here. Mac, if you're not going to fly me in the helicopter, I'm going to fly myself. I'm not staying here. I'm leaving. You done brought this creepy thing back to this base. I didn't agree to that. That's not my job description, and it's not my job description to have dogs morphing into these crazy creamy things. I don't want to stay. I don't want to stay here no more. I want to leave, and we're leaving. And that's really where I would be with it. I don't want to die, but I certainly don't want to stay.
Yeah, I don't think I could live in a world where that exists. I mean, you think, oh well. I mean, Guardians of the Galaxy, for an example, that's a very cool little universe. You have little aliens going around and everything.
Sure.
And people, that's different. None of those things make me want to curl into my body and compulse. This is literally terrifying. Yeah. If I saw that in person, I would be like, well, first I'm going to poo myself.
Right, poo.
And then second of all, I'm going to go back to my room and just cry. And just be like, or I don't even think I could manage to move. I would be so shocked.
I think what's fair to say is that every one of these characters at some point in time kind of reflects a personality of me, of how I would be dealing with this kind of stuff.
I mean, and that's fair. All of them seem to react differently and are all like Mac has that more of a fight than flight sense, where he's fighting, he's all like, okay, this is what we need to do, this is how we need to do it. But some of them, like when they're tied to the chair and Gary is proved as an innocent, he's like, now if you only ever get me out of, he like freaks out, which I would have too, but I mean, these are all they start to break down over time, which is a very good way of explaining this. But I'm sorry, if I saw that, I would have just jumped to 10. There would be no little steps for me. I'd be like, well, this is it, y'all. I'm just going to go.
I don't think I can sleep.
I don't think
I wouldn't be able to sleep in the same building of that place.
Even if we survive this, we are going to go back to America, and I'm going to have horrible nightmares to the point where I'm not sleeping ever, which is going to make me go insane to the point where you have to put me out of my misery.
I got you, man.
That's just my point.
How could you trust anybody? Every time that you meet somebody, you're going to
There's no moving past this experience.
And it's not even strangers.
These are people you know. Yeah, that's people you know. There's could be people you don't know. Your children, the dogs, the parent, and the bird. I mean, the whole world would just be horrible.
Your dog starts listening unusually. You're all,
Right? You
Gotta
you,
put you down.
you ask a question out loud and they go, mm-hmm.
Or the dog looks to agree. Oh, no, you didn't.
Oh, no. Oh.
There's all of a sudden, I'm thirsty, and there's like a milk that shows up on you.
The dog brings you a glass.
Gotta kill you. Gotta burn you. Wow.
Just horrible.
So Blair does an autopsy on it and finds just horrible things. He finds that what the organism does is it absorbs its prey and then imitates them down to the cellular level, which is disgusting. Like, he's like digging in it, like, oh my gosh, this, oh my, and
yeah,
I'm like,
he kept revealing new things. I really don't like
he kept cutting it open, and there's like pulling out another dog inside of it and everything like that.
I wouldn't necessarily call this a phobia because it just utterly disgusts me.
Right.
But the tearing of skin is a big thing for me. I hate it. I just hate it.
Yeah.
And I always joke with my friends, and I'm like, oh, I can't be a murderer because I just can't cut people up. It's just horrible. It makes me want to like rip my skin off personally. So when he was like cutting into this thing and was like slicing it and like the little flaviness of the skin, it just made me want to cry.
That's fair.
I'm not scared. I just want to start crying. It's just horrible.
Yeah. So Blair asked if Clark noticed anything odd about the dog and asked what it was doing.
Just dog things.
We find that the dog was free to roam the camp all day, so anyone it came in contact with could in fact have been converted. We have no clue. Which just adds to that aspect of now you're like, I
don't trust anybody here. Right.
The crew watches the Norwegian videos and goes through the documents and find where they were spending their time. They decide to fly out to that site to see what they can find. No. Not doing that, but okay. They find the site and locate it and what looks to be an alien spaceship.
Yeah.
So, most likely the spaceship from the beginning of the movie. So, at this point, I'm really taking a whole bunch of fuel on the helicopter. I'm Mac. And I'm going to say, hey, I'm going to go do an excursion, and I'm going to just leave. Mm-hmm. And everybody else can just, I don't care.
No. I don't care. And that's my thing, too. You know, like you were saying, going back, whatever. If I go back to the U.S. and I'm like, hey, there's this horrible things going on, because it's not like you gotta convince anybody. You're up there to do something. I mean, that's what you're doing up there, to find things like this.
Right.
So you're gonna be like, I need the entire military to come with me.
Oh, no.
And all the firefighters.
We're just bombing Antarctica, really. That's just
right, but like, I mean, you go up there and you're like, here's a spaceship, like a literal UFO.
Yeah.
And then it's going to turn into one of them Area 51 jams. And they're going to be like, okay, well, we can't tell the public about this. And they're just going to close it off and do their little thingy, and they're going to find out about it. And that's fine. And I will just be home, minding my business.
Yep.
And I'm never working ever again, because I'm going to sue. Yes. And I'm going to be like, this is caused me great trauma. And now you were paying for everything.
That's fair. I'm never paying taxes again.
I'm never paying taxes again.
So I go to the store, I get a tomato, and if I want it, it's mine.
I'm gonna become one of them. Like I'm just gonna become a vegetable. You are gonna have to do everything for me. I'm gonna hire like 100 people to just do my daily tasks for me. Just move my body around.
But can you trust those 100 people?
Oh my gosh, that's true. That's true. That could be the parasite.
Someone just looks at you weird, and you're gonna be like, or does something out of character,
oh my god,
or speaks French. You're like, what French?
I don't even know. Oh my gosh. I don't even know. There'd be nothing to do. I would go insane. There's no way out of it. I can't see you experiencing this and living a normal life afterwards.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, even insects. You look at insects and be like...
Right. Are you?
Or you isolate yourself out of everyone, and then you're just alone, and then you just go insane that way.
And go insane anyways. Yeah. So they throw lines down to the craft to get on it, and we find that the craft has most likely been buried in the ice for over 100,000 years.
I was wondering how they filmed this. I didn't think they filmed this.
Like where?
Yeah,
where? They did some on a set. They did some in overseas, and they did some in Alaska. Yeah.
Because I was thinking about like this, because they had like the dude in the background like up here, and then they were down inside, like on the bottom. Like you could still see him in the background. It was,
I got what you're saying.
And I was like, oh, did they actually build a UFO?
It's a set, so probably. It's probably the top of the Millennium Falcon. They just repurposed it.
So, reuse,
recycle. Yeah, exactly. So good job by you. Thank you, The Thing, for helping with our planet and take it over. So they also find where they had dug up that block of ice. So Mac comes back and tells what they found, and some people believe him, and other people are like, "Yeah, no way." And it's like,
And how would you feel?
at this point, I'm gonna be like, no, "I believe you,
Yeah,
100%."
After seeing that, I'd be like, yes.
And I would be like, "We need to get out of here ASAP." There's no play.
I just remembered more about the thing I was thinking of. So it's a little pink thing, and it opens its mouth and shoots the red stuff out.
I know. I think it's a mollusk, which is kind of like a clam.
Yes, I think that's what it is actually. Mollusk. How do you spell that?
MOLLASC.
Oh, MO?
Yeah.
MLLUSK.
Yeah, mollusk.
This is a snail.
It's kind of like. Well, that's mollusk.
This is literally a snail.
It's kind of like. I don't know, man. I don't know. That looks like Cthulhu.
Let me see it.
So.
I want to say it's like
we're not going to worry about that.
Oval shape. So
the cook comes by and asks who threw his dirty drawers in the kitchen trash while they were keeping.
This part really bothered me because he not only he picks it back up and is examining it, and I'm like,
right.
Is this literal poo on the shirt?
But I thought that it was really good that he did that. Like it explains. Oh no, it's like, oh no. Because it's ripped clothes. And when we learn later what it does, now we know somebody else is at least an alien.
But it's all pooed up.
Yeah.
I'm not touching that.
No, I'm not either.
Maybe if they came back on and was like, oh, hey, guys, there's blood all over this.
But at this point, everybody's asking Blair if he buys the story. Like, he's the expert on it. And Blair continues to investigate using a computer simulation and finds that the rate of assimilation is fast. And that the probability that one or more of the crew are infected is 75%, which that's too high.
That is way too high for me.
And if this organism reaches civilization, it will take 27,000 hours to infect the entire world. That's not that long.
No.
On a global scale, that's not that long.
Like a month or two?
27,000 hours? I don't know.
Ooh, let me look it up.
How many days are 27,000 hours?
How many days are 27,000 hours?
Okay, so a couple years. So it would take a couple years. That's still a couple years, bro.
I'm kind of upset about that. I said it was like 2 months.
That's like 4 years. Not even. That's like 3.5 years. So
I mean, even sooner. You think about these things going through and just tearing people open.
Right. And it's not just people. It's everything.
True. Yeah.
So Blair grabs his gun and has a plan while Mac reviews the torn clothes, which was gross. They move the thing from the lab to the storeroom, and they tell Mac he has to move his stuff, which I was like, rude. But okay. Windows says that they should just burn the things, but George says no, it's the find of the century. I agree with Windows. Windows is on point.
Yes.
Burn everything. We then see the blanket covered the thing moves and starts to drip off the table.
So this is where I was kind of confused because it seemed like the Norwegian people had burnt them up. Pretty horrible. But I guess they didn't do a good enough job.
Right.
Because it comes back.
Right.
Why is it
that thing wasn't burnt up? It was just frozen in the snow.
Oh, and it thawed out.
Yep.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Fuchs asks Mac to go outside and talk with him about Blair. They review Blair's notes and find that the remains are not dead yet, according to Blair's notes, which is horrifying.
And Blair's nowhere to be found at this point, right?
Well, right. He's the one who was right. They're still looking for him. So Windows comes in and finds Benning's clothes all ripped up, and then finds Benning's being replicated, which was
horrible. Which was actually horrible.
Had the thing in his mouth and everything.
Yes.
It was like, bleh. Yeah. So Windows takes off and reports to Mac and Fuchs what he saw, and we see out the window that Bennings is running. He falls in the snow, and everyone surrounds him. No, not doing any of this.
No.
It looks up at Mac and lets out a creepy howl.
Dog. Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh,
right.
God.
So Mac torches it with kerosene.
Yes.
Once again, this is when I'm leaving. I don't understand.
Well, at this point, the one dude had started jacking up the helicopter.
Didn't know it yet. Yeah.
They didn't know it yet, but it would have been too late.
Yeah. So Mac tells Gary that they have to burn all the remains, including what was found at the Norwegian camp. So they make a hole in the snow and pour kerosene on them and burn them all. Everyone is in there minus Blair. Everyone's not in the hole, I'm sorry. Everyone is there watching it get burned minus Blair. They cover the burned remains with snow, and Fuchs tells Mac that he can't find Blair and that everyone else is in the rec room. Mac sees Blair hopping out of the helicopter, and when Mac looks at it, he finds it's all smashed up. So then Mac hears gunshots and goes running. It's Blair who is smashing up the radio equipment, saying no one is leaving and no one gets out. Childs reports that the tractor and chopper are destroyed and that he killed the rest of the dogs.
And
so
then
Clark
Clark
goes
runs
running
off.
off to
Yeah.
check.
Which was really sad.
Yes, it was. Mac has Childs distract Blair while he runs in with a table to take him down. They all subdue him and take him out of to the tool shed and lock him up. Blair and Mac talk, and Blair tells him he doesn't know who to trust. Blair also tells Mac to watch Clark and watch him close. So they find that everything is destroyed, equipment, vehicle, and communication-wise. They're just completely closed off from the world at this point. So no dice for anything for me. Now it's too late.
I started to lose hope. I was like, okay, there's no happy ending for me.
Right. It's like, well,
yeah,
everything
one
stinks.
of these movies.
Childs says that there is no way to tell who is an alien and who is not. Doc comes up with a blood test where they can take human blood and alien blood, and if it reacts, then they know who would be the alien. They go to the blood supply and find that it's been destroyed. So it's like, crap.
Yeah.
The only people that had access are Doc and Gary. So now they have no idea who may have opened it. The guys start fighting amongst themselves, and Windows freaks out and goes to get a gun. Gary threatens him with his handgun, and that he better put it down or he'll kill Windows. Windows does comply, and Gary points his gun at everyone else, saying he didn't go near the blood, but that he'll give up being in charge to make everyone happy. He recommends Norris, but Norris says he isn't up to it. Childs jumps at the chance, but then Clark is like, no, not you.
Yeah.
Instead, Mac grabs the gun and says he'll take over, which is kind of how it's been anyways.
Yeah, you kind of seem more the leadery type to me.
So what I like about all of this at this point is you've got Blair who's saying there's no way of knowing who. He's saying watch Clark because Clark was alone with the dog. We see that the blood's been destroyed. So you've got Gary and you've got Doc that could also be infected. So you're like pointing fingers at everybody.
Right.
It's like you don't know who to trust. So even in the movie, they haven't even given you. You know how sometimes they give you that point of view where you see the bad guy, you see the good. So
you can see it happen.
You get to see, like the lady's walking and you're looking from behind the tree. So it's like, oh, okay, I know that this person. You got nothing like
clue.
that.
No,
There's nothing.
There wasn't really a main character in this. I mean, you want to say, okay, Mac.
Right.
But it doesn't follow him the entire time.
No, there's times when he's completely out of the
He's not
story.
even in the thing.
So then you're like,
what's going on with him? You know,
right.
where's he been?
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Is he right? So later that night, they burn all the blood samples as well. Max says that some of them still have to be human as well, since they are not attacking him. So he knows that there's aliens, but he also knows that there's humans. So he says they're going to find out who is who. So he tells Doc, Gary, and Clark to separate from the group and tells Fuchs to tie them up in the rec room and give them morphine to dope them up, which I was like, oh, wow, we're just going to dope people up. Okay.
Yeah.
Mac records a tape so there is a type of record of what happened. Fuchs tells Mac that he has some idea of how to figure things out, that everyone should prepare their own meals and eat out of cans from now on, because who knows how it can transfer itself.
That was a big thing with me. That was what I was thinking. I'll talk more about that a little later on. But
so Fuchs gets spooked by someone when the lights go out and chases them outside.
This was stupid because it was like a loud scream roar, wasn't it? And it was all, rah, rah, rah. And then he's like, who's that?
Right, and then he sees something go by in the dark. Yep.
And he falls, oh my gosh.
There ain't no way.
You just deserve to die.
I'm running down to everybody else. I am not going chasing anybody being cute. No.
Oh God, I would have been dead by this point already.
He does find and reveals that there's ripped clothes that belong to Mac. So we at least see that.
Yeah.
And so now you're like, hold up. Wait a minute. Is Mac one of these things? So no one wants to go with anyone to look for Fuchs.
Right.
Everybody's like,
at this point, they were like, okay, well then I'm suspicious of Mac.
Yep. They go out and they check on Blair, who says he has not seen Fuchs and wants to come back inside. So now he's where he wanted to be separated from everybody. Now he's ready to come back inside. So that's suspicious.
That was suspicious.
Doc is talking all calm now. Like, I want to come back inside. No,
You're going to stay right there.
Not Doc, Blair.
Blair. Yeah.
Almost like he is different. Max says, we'll see, and closes the little window on the door. So, Windows and Knowles, I believe is how you say it, that he's the one that was on the roller skates to cook, locate a burnt up body, and Mac verifies that it's Fuchs by finding his glasses. They figure he burned himself before it could get to him, which is horrible, but kind of along the lines of what you were saying.
I wouldn't have burnt myself.
No.
But I definitely would have shot myself.
Well, if you don't have a gun, I guess you go with what you got.
That's fair. Maybe I would have done like how the guy did at the Sweets place, where he just sliced his neck open.
Yeah. So Max says that he and Knowles are going up to Mac's shack, and that Windows needs to return to tell the others what they found and what they are doing. We find that Childs is looking at Mac's shack, and that it has been about 45 minutes since they were out there. He says they need to start closing all the outside doors. So they are boarding them up, and Norris sees Knowles heading back. Well, he sees somebody, and it's Knowles, is what he says. He tells the group that tells the group that he cut Mac loose because he thinks he is one of them. He said that he found torn up clothes up in his shack. So he cut him loose in the snow, which is jacked up because literally you just like sentenced somebody to death. They see the door handle turning from outside, and they fight about letting him in or not. Because some people are like, look, we can get it right now. We can kill him. And other people are like, no, man, that's Mac. Let him in. And just nobody trusts anybody. So they hear a window break, and it's Mac getting in. He holds them off from burning him by holding up dynamite and saying, if anyone touches him, they blow up.
So let me ask you, is this before? So he was in the room, and they were like chopping down the door to the room?
Yes.
Okay, so this is what I want to mention.
Yeah.
They were axing the door down.
Yep.
Like when they were at the Sweets place, and the axe was in the door.
Yep.
That was my connection there.
That's very cool.
That's what I noticed. I saw that, and I was like, hey, that's kind of like exactly kind of a parallel.
A parallel. Sure. So you're kind of seeing what happened with the Nord.
Right. It was like watching the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
that was just my little tidbit.
It's very cool. So Norris has what seems to be a heart attack. So Matt goes to bring him in and brings Doc in to help. They lay Norris on the table and try to bring him back. Doc goes to hit him with the paddles, and when he does, a mouth opens up and bites his hands and his arms
completely off. It was horrible. But again, very impressive special effects.
Yeah, he goes, boom, bam, and it's just crazy. He's just, So Mac burns the body, but not before the head pops off and starts to crawl away.
Yeah, and that not only does the head pop up, but little spider legs come out of it. And it's like hiding. It's like, and like little eyeballs come out of it.
And they just turn around with like a look, just like, you gotta be kidding me.
Yeah.
Like as if this doesn't get any worse.
I just don't understand how you keep moving on from that.
Right. All right, and we're back. We had a little bit of a snafu there, Beth.
Yeah.
Really, really stinks. So, anyway, to pick up where we were, they catch it in time and burn it as well. The little head with the crawly legs. And everyone is just like, what in the actual heck? So, Clark goes to attack Mac while Mac is distracted with Childs, and Mac shoots him right in the head, like, not playing around at all with him. So everybody's like, oh, Mac is serious, so we better get on it. So Mac has Windows cut everyone to get their blood sample, figuring the alien blood will react with each of the human cell, which I thought that was pretty graphic.
Yeah, it was
pretty
gross.
much a horrible way to get done. So, I mean, I would not want that be done with my thumb at all. Mac tests Windows' blood, and we see he's not an alien, so Windows is good to go. He tests his own blood, and has no reaction. So now we know that Mac is good as well. He tests Doc, and has no reaction as well, as Clark has no reaction. So now we're kind of thinking, is this test going to even work? Are we even good to go with this? And then he tests Palmer's blood, and it reacts something seriously, like a pretty sweet jump scare.
Yeah, it scared me.
Yeah. I thought that was a pretty good one. Palmer starts to react while he is tied up, and the other men are like flipping out. They're like, untie me! Ah! It's crazy times. So Mac cannot get the flame to kick on. His flamethrower is like, psh, psh, psh. So I'm like, of course, right when you need it, now it's not going to work.
Right.
So he's like, Windows, blast him. Windows hesitates. The thing gets him, bites his head all nasty, lifting him up, throwing him all around the room. I mean, it's pretty friggin' gross. It's one of the more graphic kills, I think, of the movie. So then it runs out into the snow because it's kind of on fire, and Mac blows it up with some dynamite. Which, okay, cool. Now he's dead. So Mac returns and burns more of Windows' body because it's starting to shift. It was all sitting there all gloopy and gross. It was mad nasty. So Mac tells Knowles, let me test your blood. So he tests his blood. He's good to go. And so is Child's. And I did like how they were like one by one getting untied and then standing looking at the other people.
I didn't like that they didn't draw more blood after the incident, though. I think that they should have done that because you don't know how it like travels.
Right.
So I think they should have drawn more blood.
Right. Seeing as how they were talking about, we don't know if we can get just a single cell could transfer you. So if you get like blood in your eye, are you now potentially it? Potentially. So Gary is the last to be tested, and his blood is fine as well. So now they know that all 4 men are human, which is a good thing. I mean, at this point, I think it's time to stay together. You don't split up. You don't do anything like that. But no, Child stays behind while the other 3 men go to the tool shed to retrieve Blair. I guess their thinking is, now that they have a test, we can go ahead and test Blair out and see if he's an alien or not. If so, we kill him. If not, hey, good to go. They find that he's removed boards from the floor and tunneled down. So they go down the tunnel and find that Blair has been building another spaceship.
Yeah, I didn't like this part because it didn't, like I said, I think last episode, I don't really like when movies add like some random extra bit just to throw something in there, and that's what this seemed like to me. Just throwing in how would he have had any of the time or the equipment to have built this UFO was just not there. It's just not possible.
No, I agree. It's like, how is he getting in and out? How is he transferring around? They had to add to it, of course, to make the movie a little bit more spectacular. But
I guess.
I don't think that it was a necessity, I guess you could say. But yeah, so he was using parts from the helicopter is what Max says. So Knowles thinks he sees Childs run out of the camp, and then the power gets cut. So Mac realizes that the thing is trying to freeze again in order to stay found, or to get found again, or by the rescue team when it eventually shows up. So he decides to blow the escape ship up, which he does, and then destroy any other means of transportation. So they also burn up the camp, blowing it up by room. And I'm like, yeah, you're pretty much putting yourself at a death sentence at this point. I mean, there's no going back. You're gonna freeze to death. They go down to the generator room and find the entire generator is gone. Not just like destroyed, but gone. So Mac decides they have to plant dynamite all over to bring the place down into the ice. While setting charges, Blair shows up and gets Gary. Like, fingers all in his face, just nasty.
Horrible.
This was the one way when I watched this movie again that I was like, man, I don't want to go like this. I don't want to go like Windows, and I don't want to go like this. Just get me slowly. Get me some other way, but don't, God forbid that you get me this way.
Yeah.
Knowles goes to look for Gary and ends up getting off screen because he just pretty much disappears. So I guess we just assume he dies as well. So then Mac is all alone, and something comes at him under the floorboard. Its tentacles come up and grab the plunger for the dynamite, and then it comes up through the floor in all of its horrible glory, just looking just juicy and nasty as all get out, man.
I like that, like, over time, it seemed smarter.
Yeah.
Like, it was, like, actually learning what they were doing, understood how they were trying to kill it, and then, because, like, why else would it have grabbed that?
Right, like, it knew that was the plan. Like, maybe...
So maybe when it absorbs new people, it has, like, their thoughts and memories as well.
That would be cool. That's, what I think that has to be, like, when it absorbed the guys, it knew that the plan was to blow it up, so hence get rid of that plunger,
right.
So you can't blow me up. That's a really good smart. That's smart. Mac is able to get a piece of lit dynamite thrown causing the explosion to go off all over, seemingly killing the thing. So we assume it's dead. We then see Mac walking, and he is soon met by Childs, who asks if he is the only one that made it. Mac asks Childs where he was, and he says he thought he saw Blair, so he went out after him and got lost in the storm. Not the most believable story, I don't think.
Definitely wouldn't have done that.
So Childs says the temp is up all over the camp due to the fire, but that it's gonna freeze soon. They're both worried about each other, but Max says they're in no shape to do anything about it. So Max says, why don't we just sit here for a while and see what happens? They drink knowing that one, both, or neither could be the thing, but there really isn't anything that either of the men can do, so they just, sit there and it goes to black. So
it's really sad.
It is a really sad ending. It's a very ominous and very unfinished ending in the way that, you're not sure. I mean, Mac was hell-bent on everybody dying, being blown up, or, whatever, and now he's just going to let himself freeze, which is what the alien would have wanted. So did he get got by the alien? Is Childs, did he chase after Blair, get, assimilated, and then he got returned back? Is Null somewhere?
Yeah.
You don't really know at this point, and it fades to black, so you're just kind of left with that, oh my gosh, is, the world going to get 270 hours taken over by this thing? So it's pretty horrible. But your overall thoughts on the film?
I thought it was a really good movie. I enjoyed it. I wouldn't really rate it high on a scary scale. It was really spooky, but it wasn't really scary because the gore equals scary things. Not my thing. But definitely really liked the movie.
Yeah. What did you rate it out of movies?
I give it a 4.5 out of 5.
And I give it a 4.5 as well. I think that this movie, as far as with starting off this season and everything like that, I think this is one to really kick it off real well. Would you recommend it to a friend?
I would.
Very cool. You'd watch it again too.
Yeah,
now having seen it and discussed it, to watch it again would be like, oh, this part, oh, that part, and poor Clark.
Right. I probably look out more to see when people disappeared off screen.
Yeah. Try and see if you can figure out what the shape of the shadow is and who that might have been. Was it Norris or was it somebody else? Was the dog just going in to look, or did it go in and assimilate somebody? You don't know. It's creepy. All right. So some trivia.
Yep.
All right. John Carpenter has stated that out of all of his films, this is his personal favorite. I think that's pretty cool. I think if I made all of the films that he did, this would be my favorite as well. To give the illusion of icy Antarctic conditions, the interior of the set was set to 40 degrees Fahrenheit, while it was well over 100 degrees outside. So
that's cold.
Everybody was just sitting there freezing. What's his name? Kurt Russell even said that there were times when he would take a drag on a cigarette before he would talk, so that it would look like his breath was colder than it was. Yeah, just as a little extra trivia bit. In the DVD commentary, John Carpenter said Wilford Brimley was the only cast member not made squeamish by the autopsy scene where the real animal organs were used, which is just gross and squishy
horrible, yeah.
and just horrible. I hope the animals were dead before they took them.
Oh, yeah. Jeez.
One day after shooting a scene with the flamethrower, Kurt Russell pulled a practical joke on John Carpenter by covering his face and head with bandages and claiming he had gotten burned. So, he's fun. He's fun. He's a fun guy. It did take Kurt Russell around a year to grow the famous beard and hair that he had for McGreedy.
Cool.
So, I definitely always thought that he was older in this movie than the movies that later came out. I always thought this was one that came out after, but no.
That's what beards do.
Beards make you look old? That's why I can go from 45 to 35.
No, you always look the same.
I age worse when I shave. I look like the little old guy from Flapjack. Turn old as anything. And then a throwback to the episode that we did for Hillbilly Horror Stories when we rated The Crate, which is an episode from Creepshow. The female voice of McCready's computer was performed by then John Carpenter's wife, Adrienne Barbeau, who played Billy in The Crate, which I thought you would appreciate.
Yep.
So yeah, after some fun technical difficulties, we'll get this episode out. Do you have anything else?
Nope, that's all from me.
Awesome. All right, we're going to wrap this one up tonight. I'd like to thank everyone for stopping by and listening to our 23rd episode. We do deeply, deeply appreciate it, more than you could imagine. Of course, the best way to say you love us is to give us a 5-star review on iTunes. In fact, I have a couple to read because we didn't do that. Give me a second here. I got 2 episodes. Horrible way to do this at the very last minute here.
Go back up.
No, right here.
Oh, I thought I saw it.
Yeah, I always think that I see it too, and then I don't. So, from Sarah Bookworm, she said she gave us a 5-star and said, I laugh so hard in every episode just from the banter between James and Beth. Plus, I love these movies, and it's fun to hear the different views between father and daughter. Every podcast has been reminding me of the movies my teenage daughter needs to see. She'll love it, lol. And then Diva Diana said, I heard you both on Hillbilly Horror Stories, and I can't get enough. I love listening to father and daughter discussing past movies and hearing Beth's views on what she thinks about the movies. So, of course, bravo to Beth. We did get a 2-star, which stinks, without a reason why, just a rating of a 2-star. So that stinks. If you're going to grade us, I do appreciate if you leave us the review as well. So at least
tell
that
us
way
what we're doing wrong.
Yeah, tell us if you didn't like it. That's fine. Yeah. That's your prerogative. Just let us know. Hey, you're not funny. Oh, okay.
Yeah, right.
It'll hurt my feelings, but I can take it. So anyway, if you'd like, you can email us at the yesteryearpodcast@gmail.com. We're available on Twitter at twitter.com/yesteryearpcast. Our Instagram is instagram.com/yesteryearpodcast. Facebook is facebook.com/yesteryearpodcast. We do have a private group, the Truffle Shufflers. Our secret question is the host names, James and Beth. Our website is the yesteryearpodcast.buzzsprout.com. Our Patreon, if you'd like to support us in that way, is patreon.com/the nostalgia group. And you'll have to look that up, or if you know how to spell that, because I had to look it up to even make the group. We do have merch at the TeePublic. We have a merch store. If you search up Yesteryear, you're going to bring it right to our storefront. Go buy some t-shirts or a phone case or something like that. All of the episodes have their personalized art that Beth does, and you can get all of that on the on TeePublic. So check us out. A shout out to Greg Revan for doing all of our music for the episodes. And as always, we love you. And say goodnight, Beth.
Good night.